Rest of order, please. This is a final two-wheel drive, leg number 1. Here we go. So here we go for a final two-wheel drive, leg 1. Neil Craig leads them off from pole position. Some fantastically close qualifying as we've seen all day today. So Neil Craig leads them off. Jamie Hall, Tommy Hall. Remember Jamie Hall won the four-wheel drive section at Mendip at the last National. So I've got a point to prove here at sunny Boughton. Weather's been ordered for us, been brilliant and hot, sunny all day, and the Hall brothers doing battle. Tommy Hall looking at Jamie. Jamie gets it up on its rear wheel, somehow gets it back down. But it's a change of position between Tommy Hall and Jamie Hall. Lee Martin right in there as well, and Paul Crompton. So this is giving a little bit of a lead now for Neil Craig at the sharp end. So Neil Craig, Tommy Hall, Jamie Hall, Lee Martin, Paul Crompton, Luke Holdsworth. So Neil Craig onto the main straight, 1 minute quickly down in this A final. His lead just 9/10 of a second over Tommy Hall at the sharp end. Jamie Hall just over a second further back, and he's got Lee Martin right on his gearbox. Tommy Hall's had a mistake. Oh, Jamie Hall goes round him, Lee Martin goes over the top of him. So Tommy Hall, very costly error there. So Neil Craig got even more breathing space at the sharp end. Lee Martin now to the 2 spot. It's all changing again. Luke Holdsworth now going to go to the 3 spot. Ben Pugh 4. So there's been mistakes further back, and look at this onto the straight. Lee Martin got Holdsworth all over the back of him, giving a little touch onto the straight. Neil Craig's lead 4 seconds with just 1 minute 45 on the master clock. So dream start for Neil Craig, exactly what he wanted. And the race is on then. Lee Martin, Luke Holdsworth, Ben Pugh. Tommy Hall back up to 5th, try and work his way through. So Neil Craig goes down the straight, and he's got over the length of the straight lead. 5 second lead now for Neil Craig. Lee Martin, Luke Holdsworth, Ben Pugh, Tommy Hall. So a lot of people making mistakes out there on the track. But one person who is not making any mistakes is Neil Craig, coming back towards race control. Single. Here he comes onto the straight once again. And look at the lead that Neil Craig has got. Here comes Lee Martin second.
2 minutes 30 seconds. 1, 4, 6, 9, 3, 10, 8, 7, 5, 2. Leader on lap 6.
So Neil Craig leads by 5.5 seconds, just over halfway through. Tommy Hall working his way back through. He's up to 3rd now, just past Luke Holdsworth. So Neil Craig 5.5 seconds clear. Lee Martin 1.5 clear from Tommy Hall now, who's up to 3rd. And in comes Luke Holdsworth. Tommy Hall has a mistake, has to check up onto the straight. So 1 minute 50 remaining. Remember, this is only the first leg of 3A finals today. But Neil Craig wants to get this one in the bag. 5.5 seconds still clear. Absolutely what Neil Craig would have been dreaming about last night, having a lead like this at the sharp end of the A final. And race now on. Lee Martin takes 7/10 out of Neil Craig. But Craigie's got some in his pocket and some more, as we know. Lee Martin knows he's got to push on, because Tommy Hall pushing on there in 3rd. Tommy Hall 2 seconds behind Lee Martin now. Luke Holdsworth still 4th, Ben Pugh 5, Daniel Pole 6, Ed Cullen 7, Ben Smith 8, Paul Crompton 9, and Jamie Hall is your 4 running order. 1 minute to go. Lee Martin continues to chip away at Neil Craig, but we know Neil Craig has gone into cruise home mode already. Lee Martin still 1.8 clear from Tommy Hall. 45 seconds to go. Neil Craig absolutely driving perfectly out there. As I say, that he gets a little bit of a bobble, but gets away with it. Neil certainly experienced enough to know what he needs to do. 5 seconds clear with 30 seconds to go. So it's going to be this lap and probably just about one more for Neil Craig. Not sure if anyone else will get through. Tommy Hall still 2 seconds behind Lee Martin there. So it's Neil Craig, Lee Martin, Tommy Hall still your top three. Closing down a final leg number one. Neil Craig is going to go through to start his final lap. Will anyone else get through? Is it on time? Lee Martin, you off done, finishing second. Tommy Hall third. Luke Holdsworth fourth. Ben Pugh fifth.
9 finished.
So out there on his victory lap, all on his own.
7 finished.
Neil Craig just got to bring it around the final half a lap. No one else is through, so Neil Craig knows he's got this one in the bag. Onto the straight, give him a round of applause. Neil Craig absolutely dominates leg number one. So Neil Craig, Lee Martin and Tommy Hall, your top three.